Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Chasing Rabbits. My name is Scott Brown, and you have found my vlog dedicated to trying to help you become the boss you always wished that you had worked for. So tonight I want to talk a little bit about organizations and how they're set up and why they're set up in specific ways to help you move forward. I think there's two major parts of what every organization does. There's part of every organization that needs to maximize management, and there's part of every organization that needs to maximize leadership. You can't move forward without leadership, and you can't exist today without management. You need to be able to develop an organization that can do both effectively. Now, sometimes the individuals that do that are two separate people. Sometimes you have a leader who is trying to propel an organization forward. Sometimes you have a manager who's trying to maximize what is in reality today, but sometimes you have one person that's able to do both things. And if you think about it, what management really is the maximization of what is currently possible. And if you think about leadership, it's about uncovering what is impossible now. So you have one that's trying to maximize what you can already do, and one that is trying to explore what could possibly be done. Maximization and exploration. Those are really the two components, one for management, one for leadership. When you think about those two things, they're very much opposed to each other. That's where all too often we end up seeing organizations that develop silos, where you are protective of what you have done and what you're trying to do so that nobody steals your secrets. You think that the way that I'm maximizing what's happening right now, the way that I'm maximizing my resources and opportunities right now, I don't want anybody else to come in and steal those ideas, because then I won't look as good to somebody else. At the same time, you have those silos that are built to explore what is possible, because you think you're so visionary and revolutionary that you don't want somebody else coming in to steal your ideas, thinking that they're going to take your best ideas and make them reality for themselves. So you build these silos where you don't share information across boundaries within organizations, across teams, across locations, and you end up stagnating. Because if you build a silo, it can only go so high, it can only go so wide, and eventually you run out of space. It sucks all the oxygen out of the room, and there's no more growth that's available, either for exploration or for maximization. They both end up ceasing to exist. The best way to build an organization that can simultaneously maximize what is possible and explore what is currently impossible is to create an organization where information is shared across boundaries, where departments are permeable, that you're able to take information in and out of groups within your organization so you can learn from the strengths of other individuals in your group, and you can help them by minimizing their weaknesses with your strengths. When everyone's working together towards that common goal, that is what helps organizations grow and thrive and prosper long term. But it's not always the way our organizations are set up. I know I have worked far too many places that developed the most dangerous silos and sucked the oxygen out of the organization because they never wanted to share anything. Years ago, I went to work for a women's clothing retailer that their home offices were in New York. I was going to be a regional HR manager for them, went to New York for kind of the onboarding, my orientation to the company, and realized that training and development refused to talk to employee relations, who refused to talk to store operations, who refused to talk to merchandise and planning, silo to silo to silo to silo. It's no wonder that they've now been bought at least 4 times since I left there. I realized they were never going to accept somebody that wanted to create permeable relationships within boundaries, so that we could share information more freely. I think that's an incredibly important part of any organization. Now, currently I work with a bunch of different organizations, but I'm also in Toastmasters. And in Toastmasters, I hear this common phrase said all too often, and that is, stay in your lane. And all that's really saying, stay in your lane, is that you don't want to get out of your lane and risk stepping on somebody else's toes because you think that the silo is the most effective way, when in reality, Getting out of your lane and offering the best that you have to offer to somebody else helps them change their obstacles into opportunities. It's only when we move out of what is comfortable for us and for others that we can help somebody else grow. Offering somebody else suggestions, offering somebody else the best of what we have, isn't stepping on their toes. It's one of the most loving things we can do. It's investing in somebody else. So the whole notion of staying in your lane is dangerous. The one time that it is not dangerous to stay in your lane, though, is when you're jumping into another organization, into somebody else's team, when you've never been invited. Just the random piece of information, I'm just going to do this on my own because I think I know better than you, even though I'm not part of you. That is not staying in your lane. That is not a silo. That's just meddling, and that's different. That's dangerous. That should never happen. If you're working all towards the same goal, those that are part of the group, part of the team, part of the organization, the more that you're willing to share across lanes, across boundaries, the better you're going to grow. Now, I'm running for district director next year. If I win, we won't have silos. I guarantee we won't have silos because I will want us to be permeable, to be able to share information across all areas of what our district is trying to do. Every organization that I consult, I help them dismantle their silos so they can become more fluid in how they're trying to move forward. When you share information, you learn what you don't know. You don't even know the questions to ask sometimes when somebody else has already figured out the answer. So don't get so stuck in trying to stay in your lane and trying to build the silos for protection, because all you're doing is dismantling the best of what somebody else can offer to you and end up dismantling your organization in the process. So until tomorrow, I wish you well. I hope that you have a fantastic evening. Jeff Hastings, great to see you once again, my friend. I hope that you are all well down in Florida. I hope that you are well wherever you are right now. Stay safe, wear a mask, be cautious, and I will see you tomorrow for another edition of Chasing Rabbits. And until then, toast on, my friends, toast on, and be well. Good night.